1996, if you had asked anyone which company would dominate the future of photography, almost everyone would have given the same answer: Kodak. It wasn't just a company, it was photography itself. At its peak, Kodak controlled nearly 90% of film sales in the United States. Almost every roll of film in family vacations, weddings, birthdays, and graduations had the same yellow box. Kodak wasn't just successful, it was untouchable. So how did a company that powerful collapse into bankruptcy? And here's the twist most people don't know. Kodak didn't fail because it missed the digital revolution. Kodak invented it. Let's go back to the beginning. Kodak was founded in 1888 by George Eastman with a simple but revolutionary idea: make photography easy enough for everyone. Before Kodak, photography required bulky equipment and chemical knowledge. Eastman changed that with a simple slogan: you press the button, we do the rest. That line transformed photography from a professional skill into a household activity. Over the next century, Kodak became a symbol of American innovation. It survived wars, recessions, and the Great Depression. It built one of the most trusted brands in the world. By the 1970s, Kodak was a money printing machine. Film was insanely profitable. The margins were huge. Cameras were often sold cheaply because the real profit came from film and development. Every time someone clicked the shutter, Kodak made money. And then in 1975, something happened inside a Kodak lab that would quietly change the world. A 24-year-old engineer named Steven Sasson built the first digital camera. It weighed about 8 pounds. It recorded images onto a cassette tape. The picture quality was terrible by today's standards, but it worked. It was the future. When Sasson presented the invention to Kodak executives, the reaction was not excitement, it was fear. The executives saw the problem immediately. If photography became digital, people would no longer need film, and if people didn't need film, Kodak's entire business model would collapse. So instead of aggressively pushing digital photography, Kodak did something subtle but fatal. They buried it. They filed patents. They kept researching, but they did not disrupt themselves. This is where the story becomes tragic. Kodak wasn't blind. They saw digital coming. They just couldn't accept that it would destroy their golden goose. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, digital technology slowly improved. Meanwhile, Kodak continued dominating film. Profits were strong. Shareholders were happy. The company expanded into chemicals, healthcare imaging, and other divisions. But cracks were forming. In the late 1990s, companies like Sony and Canon began investing heavily in digital cameras. At first, the quality was weak. The images looked grainy. Professionals laughed at them. But technology always improves, and once digital cameras became good enough, everything changed. Suddenly, people could take hundreds of photos without buying film. They could see pictures instantly. They could delete mistakes. They could upload images to computers. The entire economic engine that fueled Kodak began to slow down. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Kodak tried to adapt. They launched digital cameras. They invested billions into research. They even became one of the top sellers of digital cameras in the early 2000s. But it was too late. Why? Because Kodak's DNA was built around film. Their factories, their supply chains, their profit margins, their culture, their leadership mindset, everything depended on film sales. Digital cameras had much lower margins. Instead of selling film repeatedly, you sold a device once. The recurring revenue was gone. And then something even worse happened. The smartphone. When Apple launched the iPhone in 2007, it wasn't just a phone, it was a camera in everyone's pocket. Suddenly, people didn't even need a separate digital camera. Companies like Canon and Nikon survived because they focused on professional photography. But Kodak was stuck in the middle. Their cheap digital cameras were crushed by smartphones. Their film business was dying. Their brand, once powerful, started to feel outdated. And internally, the company struggled with leadership decisions. In the early 2000s, Kodak spent billions trying to transform into a digital printing company. The idea was to move from consumer photography into commercial printing, but this strategy required massive investment and fierce competition. Meanwhile, revenues were falling year after year. Investors grew nervous. Layoffs began. Factories closed. In 2012, the unthinkable happened. Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. A company that once employed over 140,000 people and was worth billions had collapsed. But the story doesn't end there. Kodak actually survived bankruptcy. It restructured and emerged as a much smaller company focused on commercial print.